Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of JourneyCast. My name is Levi.
I'm Alicia.
And today we have with us Jonny Yu from Young Life Ministries.
Yeah.
Jonny, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
Jonny, you moved out here from North Vancouver, right?
Yeah, North Vancouver. So that's right across the pond from the actual city itself.
Yeah.
It's actually called North Shore.
North Shore.
The locals call it the North Shore.
I don't want to offend anyone.
That actually does make it sound very cool.
Yeah, it's kind of like the North Shore, Hawaii, except we don't have any surf. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But a lot of
Volcanoes.
traffic.
Oof.
We don't have volcanoes, but we have traffic.
You're probably enjoying the lack of traffic.
Oh, it's
here.
insane.
Yeah.
The fact that
You're like, I can get so much done in one day.
I can go to
Get
Costco,
anywhere.
not be in lines at all, and then drive to Staples across town, and that takes like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm like, this has never happened in my life ever. And
Yeah.
then a couple of years from now, I'm going to be one of those people that complains about having to drive.
Yeah, then you
will.
know you're one
Yeah.
of us.
Yeah.
That's kind of how you know.
He's finally a hatter.
Totally. Do you guys call yourselves Mad Hatters, or is it just the
No.
Hatters? The
Hatters.
Hatters.
The Hatters.
Hatters.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, it looks like it says hater, but hatter.
We're also
bunch of haters.
Bunch of haters.
we're the gas city.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you explain that?
Yeah, it's just natural gas. It
We have
was
like
a
a lot
huge
of natural
supply.
gas reserves.
Okay.
We made
Yeah.
some money off that, I guess. So
Okay.
it just sounds bad.
Yeah. The gas.
The
city.
gas city.
Pretty easy to make fun of us.
Full of haters.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Unreal.
Jonny, what is Young Life? What is this?
Oh, you're just
thing?
jumping right in.
I love it.
Here we go.
He's
Yeah.
all business.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's all
I mean,
business.
I want to know.
Stop laughing. Stop having fun.
Okay, serious.
Tell us about your job.
Yeah. So Young Life is a international youth nonprofit organization. So it's actually the largest Christian youth nonprofit in the world. So we're in over 120 different countries globally. Cool. I mean, makes sense it's globally because there's nothing on Mars or Jupiter
yeah.
yet. But
Yet.
Yet.
on Earth.
Elon, if you're listening.
One of the 10 to Mars.
Yeah. Hashtag Tesla.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're in over 120 different countries. In Canada, we're in 3 provinces. So British Columbia.
So is it pretty new to Canada?
It's been in Canada since 1954.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Never
the
mind.
organization
That was a
started
silly
back in the 1940s. And then a couple of years later came into Canada.
Okay.
It's very big in the States.
Yeah.
Like massive. They have like 12 or 14 different Young Life camps. And like the average club size in the States is 100 kids or 60 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just talking to a lady whose husband works for Young Life, and they have 60 volunteers just in their area, which blows my mind because I'm like, I think there's
Someday.
I think there's like 60 staff in Canada. Wow. And this one
It's got
city
60 volunteers.
Yeah, this one city in Indiana has 60 volunteers.
It's amazing.
It's crazy. So the Lord's doing a lot. But so Young Life is focused primarily on evangelism. So we have like 2 ways that we do that. We focus and mentor Christian kids, or I should say teens, because they're not kids.
Yeah.
Christian kids on what it looks like to live in their context, what it looks like to talk to a friend or someone they don't even know about Jesus, and how to go through that. And then we have a saying in Young Life, and it's about reaching the farthest teen out. So those are teens.
We're all still kids.
I can
after all,
do
you know.
this.
Yeah. So with teens that either come from a different cultural context, a different faith context, or come from a family that are not believers or have certain like presuppositions about who God is. And so that's kind of like the 2 pillars of Young Life. We mentor and disciple Christian teens, and then we walk alongside those Christian teens on how to like live out their faith in the context of 2025 in Medicine Hat. So there's 4 ways that we do that. The first is called contact work. So contact work is just being in the life of teens in their context. So a very popular option is coaching. So coaching at a high school or at a club, or it could also look like hanging out at the mall with a couple of kids and just trying on a bunch of random outfits for fun.
Oh, hilarious.
Oh yeah. Or what I did in North Vancouver, we would go to IKEA and we would play sardines in IKEA until we got kicked out. Sometimes it would be going to Costco and seeing how many free samples we could get.
Hey.
It honestly, it can look at so many ways.
Yeah.
At the bottom line is it's just spending time with teenagers and either doing what they love and letting them be the expert in what they do, or it's learning how to do a backflip at 27.
That seems risky.
It was really risky.
Wait, you know how to do a backflip?
Yeah, but not on land.
No.
No. I learned how to do a backflip into the pool.
Oh,
Okay, that's a little less risky.
A little bit less risky. It's still kind of scary.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I mean, I would like to see you graduate to on ground someday.
When I can, you'll be the first person
Please.
I'll show.
I want to,
100%.
Maybe start with like something soft though, grass, you know.
I know. I really want to try doing a backflip at like a trampoline park.
Yeah.
Can you do that
think you
here
could
at
do
the
that.
Salta Gymnastics? Or is that just for
don't know.
children? They have
Hey,
some kind
we're
of
all children to some
there's a
degree.
foam pit here somewhere.
Really? I imagine you could probably try with your massive beanbags.
Yes.
You know what? And,
Just do it
and
off
they
one
do.
of the tables.
Yeah,
or something.
seriously. I was
Sunday
literally just
mornings,
thinking
that is our problem.
Yeah.
It's like, stop stacking those, stop squishing
Yeah.
people between them, stop jumping off of it, stop running and jumping towards it.
Yeah.
Once Pastor Cindy, as a joke, had I don't know why we have these weird things, but there was a prosthetic leg in the building and she put it under one of the Zorbies so that when I walked in, I would see it. I don't know. It was fake enough that I was like,
Wicked
this is
Witch
fine.
from Wizard of Oz.
Didn't really have a moment, but...
Did it start shriveling up and going underneath these? Oh, no.
Oh, man. That's unreal.
Yeah.
yeah,
I love that.
they're cool though. I mean, we like them a lot.
Yeah.
You can't wreck them, which is great.
Yeah. They can wreck kids, though, if they're not careful.
That's
with
true,
them.
yeah.
So it's,
Yeah, it does sort of
good luck.
encourage stupidity.
yeah.
I wonder if you can do like a pillow fight with those beanbags.
Nope.
But like, have you seen those? Have you seen that video? I think it's circling on Instagram. I don't have TikTok. I'm not that cool, but it was a TikTok video that was posted on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm kind of half cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, they did like, it was when it was Pokemon Go, and you know how you like throw the Pokeball to like catch
Yes.
Pokemon? What they ended up doing was they got a big inflatable Pokemon. What's that ball thing called? The catcher.
Pokeball?
Pokeball, yeah. It was an inflatable Pokeball, and they were all dressed in Pikachu, and they're in one of those vans. They slid the door open and they threw it was basically a painted yoga ball.
Funny.
Guy falls into the fountain. And so it was like a compilation of them doing
That's
this.
amazing.
Like them just pulling up, opening the door, throwing the ball, and like knocking people over. So I imagine you could probably do something similar.
We did something
Have you tried
really
to lift
fun.
one of those?
No. Are they super heavy?
Yes.
Atrociously heavy. Yeah.
Okay, so then maybe what you need to do is get a couple of people and then just like hide behind this door.
There you go.
So when a teen that you don't like that much comes in,
There's no one like that.
we don't have favorites.
Yeah.
So maybe let's put it that way. Your favorite teen when they walk in.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shout out to, no, just kidding.
We, for our youth leader Christmas party, we did an ornament exchange, and you've met Denver.
I
right?
have
Yeah.
I have met Denver.
He brought an inflatable Christmas ornament that's like, I don't know, probably like 5 or 6 feet in diameter. We're setting up, and I just hear this.
Oh my gosh.
So don't show the photo. I'm gonna
Okay, I won't.
yet.
Okay,
Yeah, we'll
okay.
we'll show it in a second here.
ready.
What?
So we're getting ready, and I hear a leaf blower, and I'm thinking, oh, our facilities guy's like blowing the snow away. That's really nice. I'm like, wow, it's kind of been going for a while. He was outside filling the ornament with his own leaf blower because he had to deflate it to bring here and then re-inflate it.
And it wouldn't fit through the door. So to get it in the room, you had
So you had to deflate it and then inflate it again.
Yeah.
So he actually got it from like a relative who like was at, have you been to Golden Bins yet? It's like the Amazon return store that they like just.
What?
There's any Amazon returns, it's like not profitable for them to take it back and resell. So they just
Yeah.
send them to sell like truckloads of returns to people.
Very
there's
affordable.
this store called Golden Bins where they just throw it in a bin and you can just sort through it and buy stuff.
And every
for
day
cheap.
it's there, it gets cheaper.
There's
What?
usually just a ton of crap, but once in a while you can find something valuable. So his relative saw this blue inflatable thing and was like, oh, this is a kiddie pool. Bought it, gave it to Denver. And he goes to fill it up and his boys are in their trunks outside ready to go in. And as it's inflating, he's like, this is not a kiddie pool.
This
So he
is a
saved
massive
it
ornament.
for like 6 months to bring to our leader party.
Because we always do an ornament exchange.
Yeah.
And so that was his
That
ornament.
is so awesome.
So we won't say who.
Right, we can't because
We're
this
sworn
is
to
a secret.
secrecy.
Yes.
But one of our leaders, Rhea, she left early because she had, I don't know, some excuse.
Yep.
Went home. And then at some point after our leader party, someone took the ornament and placed it on her car and tied it to her windshield wipers. So the next morning, she goes out and sees this on her on her car. Do you have the deflated one?
Yeah.
that is amazing.
Well, I have the aggressive whodunit fess up
Yeah.
with the picture attached.
Yeah.
Did she pop it or something?
No, I
It
think
just
her dad
deflated
went out
overnight, I think.
Leah, yeah. Anyways, we're sworn to secrecy on who's done this, and
Yeah.
we will never tell.
We will never tell.
Yeah.
Until after the podcast.
Yeah.
And then you can tell me.
Yeah, I can tell you.
Yeah, cool.
But not Rhea.
Never.
So yeah, no, it was incredible.
Oh, man. That's great.
We like our ornament exchanges at our leader parties. They're a little weird.
Gosh, yeah.
I don't know. Have you met Davis?
He was playing, you were there last night.
One night he'll join us.
We were like
You'll like
doing
it.
an
I'll be
outfits. and we're like,
there in 2 weeks.
we're doing an announcement and like, and Jonny Yu. Oh, sorry guys. That's not this week.
So embarrassing.
You missed out on candy
They're just mostly
salad.
confused. They're like, who's this guy? I'm like, don't worry about it.
You'll find out eventually.
If you were here on Sunday, you know who it is.
Once he gets his stuff together, he'll come.
Anyway, have you ever heard of a pickle ornament? Like, like the pickle on the tree. You've never heard of that? So it's some kind of tradition. A lot of people
think it's
have
German.
it.
Or
Tradition
something,
where
yeah.
you put a pickle on a tree.
Well, usually
A pickle
it's
ornament.
an
And a
ornament.
pickle on the roof.
And then if you find it in the tree on Christmas Day, then you get an extra gift. That's usually how it works. So like my
kind of a
parents have
Where's Waldo
this
situation.
ridiculously large tree and our like ornament pickles this big. So usually my mom has to step in and help because she doesn't even remember where it is and we can't find it. And it takes like a
It's a
long
needle in a haystack.
Yeah, legitimately. Yeah.
Oh
but
my gosh.
so anyway, it's a thing. And so this year Davis brought a real pickle out of a jar still dripping.
Did he like thread a string through it or something?
He did, yeah. And one of our leaders, Cambria, won it and hung it on her tree.
It got to the point where she put a Ziploc around it to catch all the juice from the pickle.
Like as it's drying out. It's
Yeah.
just-
Yeah.
It's usually a little weird. I'm like, I don't know what it is. Even if you brought a good ornament, no one ever owns up to what they brought.
Yeah.
Like I've never heard anyone be like, that was mine. Like,
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
know.
then I brought an ornament back and Davis was like, hey, didn't I give this out last year? I was like,
Yeah, a lot of them get returned.
sorry,
Is
man.
it yoga dog?
Yeah, it's a
Like,
dog.
why is that
I would
even
keep
a
that.
thing?
Why-
Dog
I would not
doing
return
yoga.
that.
I ran out of time to get one, so I'm like, I'll just bring back the one I got last year.
Oh no.
So his dog doing yoga on like some green turf with a like a Santa Claus hat on.
Was it doing the downward dog?
No, it was doing like
Whenever
the
the legs
classic pose
crossed
with the.
Oh, dude, that would have
Or
been
was it this?
perfect.
I don't know if it was doing that or
some
that,
kind of
so.
thing.
Yeah,
Anyway, we have fun.
I would definitely have kept that one.
yeah.
You missed out.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay. You live and you learn.
Yeah, next time. Maybe it will make a return next Christmas. Who
Maybe
knows?
it will.
Yeah.
Actually, we kept it.
Oh, did you end
Well,
up
no
with
one
it?
took it home. So someone actually hung it on our youth Christmas tree. So it's in with it'll show
You
up.
know what? As long as I get to see it every
Yeah.
Christmas.
You're just giving back to the youth community
Yeah.
here.
You know what?
I just care about you guys more than I care about myself. And I want the best for you.
Sorry, selflessness, not
Selflessness.
not selfish.
You're just so selfish.
Oh no.
Isn't that nice of you?
This is why people don't put me in front of the camera.
This is your media training right now.
Yeah, there
Yes.
you go. I'm actually applying to be the next pastor here at Hillcrest. It's going terribly so
Oh
far.
wow. It's great work.
Young Life, some people ministries is watching it. Wait, we just sent you to Medicine Hat.
What's happening?
You're quitting? Is this your 2 weeks?
Surprise!
Oh man. So how did you get involved with Young Life then? Like were you a in school and like discovered it that way?
I actually want to go further back. What's his origin story?
okay.
How did you come to know the Lord?
Yeah.
Oh my
Where were you born?
gosh. Where was I born?
How did your parents meet? Well, maybe that's too far back.
Okay, where I was actually born in the States. So I
where?
grew up in California in a small town called Danville outside of San Francisco. So I lived there.
I just want to throw in something interesting really quick. Denmark has made an offer to buy California for $1 trillion.
Why? Why do they want
Trump
California?
wants Greenland, so they're like, well, we'll buy California. So,
Oh, good grief.
anyways,
Cool.
that's just funny to me. But
Wait, would you eventually then be able to say that I'm from, was it Denmark you just said? Where
yeah, Denmark
Yeah.
wants to buy California.
if you were born in California and it was taken over by Denmark, could you say you were born in Denmark?
Yeah, you're Danish then.
Yeah,
It's just how
automatically.
it is. Yeah.
Anyway, please continue.
That would be actually pretty cool.
yeah.
Speaking of Danish, I think I thought this thought until I was about 18 that like the Danish like the
Yeah, yeah.
treat
Yeah.
came from Denmark.
It doesn't?
No.
That's disappointing.
No,
Well, why did they call it that?
I don't know. But I
I
was
mean,
really
does the
disappointed.
Boston cream come from Boston?
I hope so.
That's a great question. I don't know.
Do you want to?
Yeah, look it up.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to look that up real quick.
Since we're on this topic of donuts.
Yeah. Ask ChatGPT.
I don't want to say it. You
This
do
would
it.
be a good opportunity
Yes,
to put like
yes.
background music.
Yes. It comes from Boston.
Okay, that's
It
good.
does. Well, what the
Believed to
heck's
have been
going on?
created at the Parker House Hotel in the 1850s.
1850s. That's an old donut.
The official dessert of Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. Massachusetts.
Sorry. Hold on. I want to hear you say it.
You heard my
No,
attempts.
say
I'm
it.
done.
No. We're not moving on until you try one more time. Just one more time.
Massachusetts. You say it.
Massachusetts. Aren't you American too?
Oh, no, my mom's American.
Yeah. You should know better.
You need to show your mom this clip. That's so funny.
No, that's getting clipped for sure. Yeah.
Oh man.
Sorry, just let me make a note here.
Yeah, so I grew up in California,
Not Massachusetts.
not Massachusetts, and lived there until I was about 16. And then we moved to Kelowna, BC, because my grandma got diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer and had a really late prognosis. So her life expectancy was like 6 months.
Oh, wow.
And so my parents were kind of at the point in their lives where they're like, okay, we're kind of ready to retire. We're kind of ready to transition to that next season.
Yeah.
And so we, from the point of getting that phone call that my grandma had cancer to actually being in Canada, I think was a month.
Wow.
So it was a really quick turnaround. And then we moved there 2 days before grade 10 started.
Wow.
So I went, and before this I was homeschooled.
Okay.
Shout out to homeschoolers.
girl.
There's another one of you.
We're all special. And that was
That's
that was
great.
actually a pretty perfect.
Yeah, that sums up
Homeschoolers.
homeschooling. And you're making fun of me.
Oh, my
We're
gosh.
special and uncoordinated.
It's these arms are in the way. That's why. And we're sitting at like a 90-degree angle.
Yeah. So
Alicia's like, I got my revenge finally.
she can't say Massachusetts. We can't high five. We're all even now.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
So
so
you're homeschooled up till 16.
Homeschooled.
Homeskilled.
Homeskilled.
To the
That
age
is
of
what I was.
16.
Yeah. And I go from being homeschooled, going to a small co-op of like 60 kids, grade 6 to grade 12, to going to a 4A high school in Kelowna. And at that point, I didn't know anybody. And I was in a public school where I was like introduced to like drugs and alcohol within a couple of days of being there.
Oh my goodness.
I literally had a dude walk up to me and be like, oh, you're from California? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh, dude, you have to try our weed here. And just gives me a dime bag of weed. And I was like, I don't know what to do with this.
Thank
you.
Thanks.
And so, yeah. And because my parents were taking care of my grandma and my dad was retired for like a grand total of like 6 days and then decided he didn't want to be retired anymore. So my dad started working again. And then my mom was in Oliver, which is like a small town, hour and a half from Kelowna, taking care of my grandma. I was by myself most of the time. And so, I didn't really get plugged into a youth group. And then I just like started partying and doing all of that fun stuff. And that kind of went all throughout until halfway through my college career. And that's kind of when the Lord really revealed himself to me. And it was through a friend of mine who was my RA. And it's really funny because like resident assistants at most universities, it's not a cool position.
Right.
It's a position that people do to get, a couple grand off of their tuition, and they're like the police of like the dorm.
Yeah.
But at Trinity Western, the Christian school I went to, it was like a desired position. Like if you wanted to be in leadership, that was the position you wanted.
Yeah.
And so I ended up being in this dorm with a friend of mine, and he was the RA. And I think it was a couple months in, he pulls me aside. He's like, "Hey, let's go for a walk." And I'm like, "Oh no." He must have found out about something I did. And I was like thinking, and I was like, done a lot of stuff the last couple of weeks.
Like, which one was it?
Which one was it? And so there's like this green space called the Back 40 at Trinity. And he ends up asking me, "Hey, I want to talk to you about a couple of things, but before I do, I just want to pray." And so as he was praying, there was like one line that like really stood out to me. And he was like, "Lord, like, can you just like please replace my heart with your own and replace my lips with your lips? Like let this time be a reflective time and a time where you're present." I was like, okay. And like I had like two thoughts immediately where I was like, "Oh, I'm in trouble." But he also cares. And that was like one of the first times where I had someone in my life come alongside me and like see me as I was and love me as I was.
And they're looking out for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not coming from a position of frustration or hate, but just like, hey, he just like called out a lot of things in my life that he saw because he saw those things. He saw those things in himself when he was younger. And like didn't just kind of dump all of that stuff on me and then be like, "Okay, now you got to fix it." He stayed alongside me. And so we ended up meeting together like every week for the rest of my time at Trinity. So for 3 years, we met every week. He would ask me super hard questions of like, "Hey, when was the last time you drank? When was the last time you smoked? When was the last time you watched porn? Like when was da 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 da." And that was the first time I had a mentor in my life that I could be 100% honest with. I was 100% comfortable with, and there was trust that was formed. And when I was shown Young Life, I like, and looking at the model of Young Life, I'm like, that's what Young Life is. It's leaders and Christian teens, like Christian friends coming alongside of their non-Christian friends and doing life with them, like spending hundreds and hundreds of hours with them and earning the right to be heard so that you can have serious conversations. And it's not about taking ourselves seriously, but it's taking the love of Jesus and taking them seriously. And how I got involved in Young Life was when I met my now wife, Roniya. It was kind of a flirt to convert situation. In the sense I was already Christian. But when we started dating, she's been involved in Young Life ever since she was a teenager. Okay. And it's actually really cool. She went to camp, like her friend dragged her to camp one year, I think when she was in grade 8. And they went with the Vancouver group because that was the closest group to them. They live in Williams Lake, which is an 8-hour drive from there. But after coming back to camp, they started going to the Vancouver club once a month because her friend's mom worked for WestJet. And so they would get $15 flights round trip because her mom worked for WestJet. They got basically flights for free. So once a month they go to Vancouver. And she did that for 3 years until she was in university. And then when she was at Trinity, she was a leader for the Young Life area in Langley. And so when we met in my 4th year and things were getting kind of serious, she sits me down and she's like, I need to talk to you about something. I'm like, oh no, what did I do? What did I do? I'm sorry. Whatever I did, I'm sorry. I messed up. And she's like, no, it's nothing like that. And she was like, you know that I'm involved in this thing called Young Life? And I'm like, yeah, I kind of know what it is. And she was like, I just need you to know that this is a really important thing in my life. And if we're going to like continue in this like relationship and this relationship's getting more serious, I need you to know that this is important to me and it's not something I'm going to give up. And I need, and it's valuable and you need to be okay with this. I'm like, I love Young Life. I love it. I'm in 100% support of it. And she's like, great, you should be a leader. And I'm like, what?
I don't know if I like it that much.
I love that you do it.
I mean, I like Young Life. I don't know if I love it.
But
you can like it as a friend, you know?
Totally. It was honestly kind of a conversation like that where I was like, I love that you do it. Yeah. I don't know if I have time.
I love to support you in this
100%.
Yeah. And I love that you're a part of it. Yeah.
Totally. And it kind of that similar kind of conversation happened. And she's like, well, why don't you just come with me and check it out? Like just one time. I'm like, okay, we'll check it out.
Blind date.
It was a date. It totally was. Yeah. But she suckered me, man. Like she knew what she was doing. And so I still remember it. It was a Wednesday night. She picks me up from my dorm or my apartment on campus. And she was like, oh, we have to pick up a couple of kids. And I'm like, what do you mean we got to pick them up? She was like, oh, like most leaders pick up their teens and like bring them to club. Oh, wow. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Okay. So we had a van and we ended up picking up like these 5.
It's not creepy at all.
No. It wasn't like one of those cargo vans. It was like a Honda Odyssey, like a mom van, like a soccer mom van. Okay. That's better. Young Life does not have those vans. Okay. Just putting that out there.
But it'd be kind of cool if you did. I mean, if you got the decal on it that said Young Life.
Yeah. Is there a yoga ball, like a Pokeball?
No, but I kind of want to do it now. Yeah. Like that's how we catch our kids actually. Yeah. We just... let me out. No, I'm joking. So we end up picking up like 5 girls that Roniya was in relationship with.
Okay.
And they're all making fun of me. They're asking me a bunch of questions. Like this was the first time they met Roniya's boyfriend. And like they were hating on me. They're doing their typical grade 9 girl things. And I'm like,
they're seeing if you can put up with it.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, 100%. And so they're like, and also I wasn't the best boyfriend for the first like month and a half. And so, I mean, I made up for it.
Did they start bringing that up?
Yeah, dude. They were like ripping into me for like, cause like I butchered
we heard about what you did.
No, first couple of dates with Roniya, I butchered it. And that's a story for another time. But like, just trust me in the fact that it was bad. And so they were ripping into me the entire drive there. And Roniya is just kind of giggling in the driver's seat. Like she's
confidence builder.
Like she pushed them up to it. Yeah. And she's like, this is awesome. And so we end up driving to this property and there's this red barn.
This sounds so scary. We loaded a bunch of girls in a van. We took them out to a barn. Continue.
Just wait. It gets better. I promise. So
but wait, there's more.
There's more. So we get to this barn. And there's a bunch of kids just outside playing football, ultimate frisbee. And so I get introduced to a bunch of boys at this point, and we all go up to club. And there's like 20, 25 teens and a couple of university age leaders. And they start club by putting on Taylor Swift.
Interesting.
And I'm like, what is this about? I was like, I thought this was a Christian thing.
Yeah. Is this like a Taylor Swift worship cover?
Yeah. Is this a cult? Because if so, I'm out. I already like someone already tried to get me into Amway, and that was a whole thing. Like my spidey senses are kind of going. Yeah. And
let me introduce you to some gold bars. It's a great investment.
Do you want to be in a part of the Emerald Club? Here's how you do it.
Oh, gosh.
No. So Young Life is not a cult, but I lean over to Roniya and I was like, why aren't you singing Christian songs? And she was like, well, this isn't designed for Christian kids. This is designed for non-Christian kids. And so if we start singing Christian songs, they're going to be either really confused or weirded out. And so we sing like non-Christian songs that have a Christian message to get them like comfortable.
What was the Taylor Swift song?
Honestly, I can't remember.
We are never
getting back together.
No.
I don't think this is Christian. But I was like, that was the first like time in my life where I started thinking, oh, that actually makes sense. Like, how are you making content relatable to teens? And so then after the person who's leading the songs gets off, all of a sudden, this dude comes out in a ridiculous costume and is in character and is just being this like goofy dude, and it like introduces a game and invites a couple of kids and their leaders up, and they do this whole game. And I'm like, oh, this is so wild. And then the staff person for Langley comes up and shares about Jesus, but in a way that I have never heard of. Like, in such a way where I was like, man, they were able to boil it down to like the perfect essence and relate it in a way that these kids would understand. It was something I've never seen before. Cause like I grew up in youth group, and at least my youth group made an assumption that every teen that was in that space knew who Jesus was, knew specific Bible stories, like had a foundation. But this Young Life Club was the first time where I was like, man, like they explained the person of Jesus so well with the assumption that everyone in the room did not have any understanding of who Jesus was other than a swear word. And that's the coolest part about Young Life that I love, is that we try to bridge that gap, and we try to make this dude who lived 2,000 years ago relatable to today, and like why his life and ministry is so important to teens today, like why the love of Jesus and the ministry of Jesus is something that they cannot do anything without. And it was a light bulb for me. I was like, I can do this. And like at the time, I was a full-time upperclassman student in university. I was also playing rugby for Trinity Western. Like I already had no time, and I had a girlfriend. I was like, I don't know where I'm going to find the time, but I'm going to do it. And so I did it for a year and a half, or a year actually. And then my wife and I graduated, got married. She took a staff position in North Vancouver.
With Young Life? With Young Life.
Yeah. And I was her like team lead. So I was like the lead volunteer, like helping oversee club and the other volunteer leaders. And I was working a big boy job at a venture capital firm.
Oh, wow.
And there came a point where I got home. I was like, I don't think I can do this job anymore. I'm going to quit. And I was like, but you make money. I don't. I'm in ministry. What are you doing? I was like, honey, I just, I feel like the Lord's calling me out of this. And she's like, okay. And it was right before the summer. So perfect time for me to quit and kind of relax and have a pina colada by the beach. And, but most importantly, jokes aside, just like pray and like discern and feel like, okay, like Lord, where are you leading me?
While you're on the beach.
While I'm on the beach.
God, what's next?
What's next?
Oh my goodness.
It was a terrible time, to be honest. But at that point, it was like, I think 2 months in, I was applying for jobs, nothing was sticking. And I was like, okay, I'm like, where am I? Like, Lord, like, what are you doing? And I had one of my campaigner teens. And so for context, like campaigners are what we call our Christian kids.
Okay.
So this was a dude I'd been in a relationship with now for almost 2 years. And he was going to our camp in Princeton called Rockridge to serve for a month as a work crew kid. And so work crew is kind of like what you would call like a DTP or DTS or whatever the leadership things would be at your local camps. And he was going to go there for a month, and he couldn't find a ride. And so I was like, well, I have nothing.
I got a lot of free time.
I got so much time. Let
Mini Cooper.
me drive you. So we did. We took the Mini Cooper.
Nice.
And it's a convertible Mini Cooper. So we rocked it with the top down. And I had
more Taylor Swift.
Yeah, just crank the tunes. I also had my dog with me.
Oh, that's nice.
And so I'm driving him up there, and we get there, and this is the first summer after COVID, like after everything opened up.
Yeah.
And the camp manager came up to me once I got there, and she was like, "Hey, would you be willing to stay for at least a week?" And she's like, "We're so desperate.
Wow.
Like we're at half capacity for all of our volunteer positions, and we have like 300 teens at camp this week. I don't know how we're going to do it."
It's a nice way to be recruited. Hey, we are
We'll take anyone.
so
Even you.
desperate.
You're a warm body. We'll take you.
Yeah.
And so I was like, let me call my wife.
Do I need a police check? Doesn't matter.
Well, because I was a volunteer leader, already had it.
You were okay.
Nice try. We have systems at Young Life. Okay. Those are very important.
Oh, the camp was right. The camp was Young Life camp.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And so I call my wife and I'm like, "Hey, Sarah just asked me if I could stay for a week. They're really low on numbers and they could really use my help." She was like, "Yeah, dude, go for it." And I was like, "Okay, great." So I hang up the phone. I'm like, "Okay, I have a dog, which can't be on site.
Oh.
I also didn't bring any clothes. What am I going to do?" And so I then go back and talk to Sarah, who's the camp manager, and was like, "Hey, here are my issues." She's like, "No problem. We'll find someone to take care of the dog. Here's $100. Go into town, get yourself some underwear, and like whatever you can get for $100. And I'm like, "Done." So I bought like a 4-pack of underwear, some toothbrush, toothpaste, some socks, and like a t-shirt. And so I ended up staying there for 2 weeks with just that, doing laundry like every other day because it was
the smallest load of laundry
ever. But it was like 36, 37 degrees every day.
God.
I was
Wow.
dying, sweating so much. And I'm like, I only have 4 pairs of underwear and like 4 socks and a t-shirt.
Yeah.
But I did it.
Yeah.
And that time at camp was a huge reason why I came on staff. And the coolest thing that I saw were teens from all over Canada coming and giving their time, and like volunteers coming from all over Canada to give their time. Yeah. Even adults like who have kids would like take some of their precious vacation days to come serve at camp for a week because they believed in what Young Life was doing. And even though I'd only been a leader for like a year and I was still kind of getting used to the Young Life culture, I was able to see like the lives changed at camp. And the coolest thing about Young Life camp that I think is different than most camps in Canada is when you go to a camp, a generic camp, let's say, you meet your camp counselor for the first time day one. And if you're lucky, if that camp counselor is lucky, they'll be able to have a deep conversation at some point during the camp. But that's like maybe on the last day, right as the kid's leaving. And then most counselors never see those same kids again, right? Where at Young Life, the leaders that are in relationship with these teens all year are the same leaders that get to take them to camp, experience camp together, and then have follow-up conversations after camp. And that's when it really clicked for me, where I was like, man, like Young Life isn't just about going and meeting teens in their context and like earning the right to be heard and spending all of those hours with them, but it's the ability to come alongside them almost as like a spiritual parent and as a mentor and like do life alongside those teens. And then I was looking at my own life. I was like, I never had that until I was 24. Or no, I was 22. Until I was 22. Imagine my spiritual growth and maturity, or I can't even imagine where I would have been or what I would not have done if I had someone in my life when I was 14, 15, 16. And just realizing how many teens don't have someone in their life like that. And don't have that privilege and opportunity. And especially realizing that more and more there are teens that are coming from broken homes. And recognizing like where the state of the world is right now and how teens are getting exposed to such garbage at earlier and earlier ages and are having a crisis of purpose and identity at like 13, 12, 14, and they have no idea what's going to happen to them and having no clue of like how to navigate life. And people like ourselves are able to come alongside them and do life with them. And I love the opportunity of being able to present the love and the grace and the forgiveness of Jesus to kids who have never heard of who this guy is other than using him as a swear word, or maybe even experiencing some hurt from the big C, or growing up in a family who has experienced trauma from the big C, and just like causing bias in their life growing up, and then having the opportunity to come alongside them and having a separate voice in that. And so, that's kind of my journey in Young Life, and why I joined Young Life and why I continue to do Young Life is it's the ability to live out the incarnational ministry of Jesus and providing hope in a generation that is so disconnected while they're the most connected, if that makes any sense.
It makes perfect sense.
And seeing myself in so many teenagers and being like, man, like if you can get it now.
And you just want to sit them down and be like, here, let me just like give you
just shut up and
20 minutes and I can explain everything. And if you just listen to me,
I know. I wish that
if it were that simple, that'd be great, but it's not. It's not that simple. Yeah. Like you said, you need to build those relationships and that trust.
100%. 100%.
And like they're like, well, you don't understand where I'm coming from. You don't understand. So
and it's also crazy too. Like I sit back sometimes and I'm like, man, I get paid to do this. I get paid to hang out with kids and like have amazing conversations. But like half the time I'm like doing ridiculous things like coaching or taking a group of guys to like a ski mountain and just having a ski day, or just inviting a bunch of boys over to play Fortnite or whatever the cool video game is that's coming out, right?
Insert current video game here.
Insert current video game here. But then like in those moments, I'm like, man, like I'm getting paid to do this. And it's just wild to me. But I think my favorite aspect of this job and this privilege that I have is just being able to spend time with teens, and especially like kind of what we were talking about before is like how connected these teens are. A lot of that connection is surface level.
Oh, big time.
In the sense that like they could have a friend that lives halfway across the world, but they've never met them in their life. Or they have like their social group at school, but they never see those people outside of school.
Sort of a shallow commitment.
Shallow commitment, 100%. But then
they long for more.
They do. They totally do. And then having someone that's like, hey, I am going to pursue you. I want a relationship with you. I want
in a not creepy way.
In a not creepy way. In a non creepy van way. Hey, I want to know you for you. I want to know what hurts you. I want to know what excites you. I want to know like what your dreams and aspirations in life are. And I want to be able to speak into your life and love you in a non-creepy way. And I just want to do life with you.
Like a big brother.
In a big brother or like, and especially now in today's world, there's so many broken families and teens who don't know what a positive parental relationship looks like. Volunteer leaders with Young Life and even churches like you guys are able to provide that model and show them like, hey, this is just a fraction of how much Jesus cares for you. This is just a fraction of what you will get to experience for eternity.
I love that.
And like your life matters and your purpose in life matters. And like, we're here to like help you experience that and like understand what that can look like for the rest of your life. It's all about relationship.
Yeah.
To boil all of it down.
Yeah, honestly,
it's all about relationship.
Uh-huh.
It's all about showing up, and it's about knowing them by name for a purpose.
Yeah.
So that's the Young Life.
Fun fact for you, one of my favorite poop stories comes out of Young Life.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I went to Bible college with a guy named Dylan, and his story was one of the worst I'd ever heard. But he was
I thought you were
heavily
referring to my
involved.
poop story.
No. I mean,
This is a different Young Life poop story.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
he was heavily involved in Young Life, so that's when I first heard about it when I was back in
sweet.
college. And so anyway, yeah, Dylan went out and he was like the speaker or something for the week. And so when he was leaving, he wasn't feeling particularly well. And he like had this moment where he was like, I should probably like just stop. But I'm like, everyone's leaving.
Yeah.
And you kind of like have this like, can I make it home? Can I not make it home scenario? And you knew
Do
it
I
was a
trust the
decent
fart or do I
drive.
not?
Totally.
Yeah.
And so he took the risk and he headed out before everybody else, thinking he could go. Like if he just like sped a little faster, he could get home and everything would be fine. But it was not fine. And he ended up on the side of the road in a ditch having diarrhea while the whole bus full of Young Life kids drove by. You just can't really recover from stuff like that, you know, like all your authority. All your, like,
I was
every
thinking
lesson
about
you've
following
taught. Yeah.
Jesus, and then I just saw this camp speaker
Pooping on the side of the road.
destroying the ditch.
It's horrible.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And when we met, you're talking about like it's all about these leaders not taking themselves seriously. So
Well,
I
there you
think
go.
Shout out to
really
Dylan.
probably
Shout out to Dylan.
the kids saw the worst of him. These had this embarrassing moment. So
Totally.
it can only go up from there.
Well, we have
Really?
we have a
Yes, really.
joke. We have a joke in Young Life where when crazy experiences happen to you in life, you're like, "Hey, that's a club talk right there. That's a club talk story." Because like normally when we do our presentations, we start with a story, like something that's like either really silly or really crazy, and then we tie it to a story in the Bible. And
I
so
would
that
be
poop
interested
story,
to hear how Dylan would tie that in.
I know that, me too.
I have no problem believing that he could.
Yeah.
No, he was in my youth pastor program. He's a very skilled communicator, great sense of humor. He'd be just fine.
Speaking of, do you by any chance have a story you would like to share with us?
Oh, like a poop story?
Yeah.
They love this kind of stuff.
Sure, I definitely can.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this was a pretty recent story.
It was yesterday.
This was not like, when I was 3 years old,
Yeah.
I had a oopsie.
It was on the way here, if you can smell it.
Oh my gosh. It's actually why I was late.
There's a reason I always keep an extra pair of pants in the car. It was actually this summer.
This past summer.
Oh my
gosh, it's so recent.
No, I know. I'm telling you, this is
like the past 2 years, maybe recent.
No, I'm a grown man who soiled his pants.
Cool.
So I was actually driving to Rockridge, which is our Young Life camp in Princeton. At the time, I was still living in North Vancouver, and so that's about 3.5 hour drive. And I was going to work there for the month of July as a work crew boss. So kind of overseeing a group of 30 high school age teens that are there to serve. And for whatever reason, I wasn't hungry the night before. Like I didn't have an appetite. Maybe it was just nerves or whatever, or like excitement. It could be a plethora of things. But at about like 12 o'clock, I was like, I'm kind of snacky. I'm not hungry, but I'm snacky. And so I end up eating a massive bowl of popcorn.
Oh.
Okay.
Like Boom Chick Pop.
Okay.
Like the best popcorn
Sure.
ever.
Yeah.
But that went badly.
Yeah.
Did you
And
maybe
so
have
I was driving to
allergy?
Fiber? There's a lot of fiber in popcorn.
it's just there's not a lot of substance, but that was the only thing that was kind of going through my body.
Light lactose intolerance, perhaps?
I don't know, but there wasn't lactose in the popcorn. And I'm not lactose intolerant.
Okay.
But I'm driving to Rockridge. And once you get past Hope, the city in Hope, there's not much for about an hour until you get to a mountain called Manning Park. And so I'm halfway there, halfway in that dead zone. And
You're in your desert
I'm in my desert. I'm in my desert era for sure. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I have to fart. I'm like, no, okay, no, whatever. I'll just let it squeak. Yeah. And
warm up the seat a little bit.
Yeah. And I just feel a flood of
no.
But it was like the texture would be like water.
The texture. Whoa.
Well, it wasn't like solid poop. It was like runny water. And I'm like, did I just pee myself? Like, what just happened? I was like, no. It can't be that. And then I start smelling popcorn. And I was like, did I just poop myself? And I'm like, and so the thing is, I'm not even in my own car. I'm in my dad's vehicle because we had just got T-boned a month before.
Missed opportunity to have had that happen in the Mini Cooper. Then you could call it the Mini Pooper.
The Mini Pooper.
And you can air it out.
Yeah, take down the top.
but the kicker was I wasn't even in my own car.
I'm thrilled for you though. It was your parents because I was worried it was going to be someone else.
I was mortified because I'm like, I'm borrowing my dad's car. It's actually my dad's old commuter car because we didn't have a car and we were looking to buy a car and we were like in the middle of our insurance claim and all of those things. And so I pull over to the side of the road and I'm like, okay, what do I do? I have all of my clothes for the summer that I'm a month's worth of clothes in the trunk, but I'm like, I'm in poopy pants in shorts. So I'm like, there's definitely some stuff on my legs at this point. And their car is like flying past me. And so I'm like, okay, I got to turn around. I need to get to a gas station because I need to clean myself. I need to clean the seat. I need to clean the thing. And so I'm driving half an hour back.
Leather or cloth?
Leather. Oh, thank goodness.
The Lord.
Thank goodness. But that part comes back later.
Oh, no.
And so I'm sitting in this for half an hour smelling the pop. It literally smelled like popcorn, but like it did. But but it didn't smell like poop because I hadn't eaten anything. It just smelled like popcorn. And so I finally get to the gas station. I pull up and I'm like, now what? Like I'm by myself. I can't ask the person next to me, hey,
just
could you
waddling in while holding your shorts up.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll show you how I did it. So I really
hope you're watching on video right now on YouTube so you can see this.
So
if not, you need to switch over.
So I kind of slide out of the car and I'm like butt clenching, like waddling like this. Just trying, like just hoping that I don't have anything coming out of like the bottom of my shorts because I'm not wearing pants.
Just a hope and a prayer.
Yeah, just hope and a prayer. And I'm like, okay, please, Lord, let there be no one in this gas station. Nope. There was a line of people for the bathroom. So I'm standing with 5 other people waiting in a queue to get to the
standing
bathroom.
in line. Do you guys smell popcorn? I didn't think this gas station had
extra butter. And it was awful. No. And I was so self-conscious. I'm like, I probably smell terrible. And I'm like just standing there like this. Anyway, and then I hear someone come behind me. I'm like, okay, no. just don't turn around.
What color are the shorts?
Don't turn around. The shorts I wear black, thankfully.
Oh, thank goodness.
And I was like, I couldn't even look at my leg. I'm like, I don't even know if I have anything running down, but I just gotta do it. So I get in there and I'm like, I finally get into the bathroom. I clean myself. It's all good. But then I'm like, what do I do with my shorts? And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to throw them in the garbage. I brought in new underwear for myself, but I forgot to bring new shorts. So I was like, okay, I just gotta book it to the car. And so I like swing open the door. I run out of the gas station in just a shirt and underwear. And I jump into the car.
Which is full of poo?
And I forgot to clean the seats. So I then waited for everyone to leave the gas station. So like
Meanwhile, at the camp, they're like, man, where's Johnny? He said he'd be here by now.
This is so funny.
And so I have to do the walk of shame back into the gas station, ask for some.
One guy's like, hey, there he is. The guy with those shorts.
Hey, it's the poopy pants guy that I just saw.
Oh no.
And it was terrible. And then once I figured all of that out, I had to call my parents because I'm like, I have to let them know. I have to tell somebody like this whole thing. And so I call my mom because she's the more reasonable of the two.
Sure.
And I'm like, hey. She's like, hey, how's Rockridge? I'm like, not there yet. So here's the thing. I accidentally pooped myself in Dad's car, and there's just silence. And then she's like, it's okay. I've also pooped myself as an adult. It happens. I'm like, I don't want to know that.
You're like, I knew it.
That doesn't help me in this moment. Also, I don't want to know that you've pooped yourself as an adult.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, well, hey, I cleaned it up. It's all good. I just wanted you to know. And she was like, well, thank the Lord. The seats are leather. And she hangs up. And so I finally get to Rockridge and I see my friends.
Yeah.
And there's 3 other work crew coordinators. And I'm like, hey guys, you wouldn't believe what happened to me. And so I tell them the whole story. And later that night, when all of the 30 work crew kids come and like we're introducing ourselves,
Yeah.
Kyle, who's one of the other coordinators, is like, hey guys, you got to hear this story. And literally primes me to like tell the story. I'm like,
no.
I'm
This
just
is
meeting.
too fresh. Yeah.
Too fresh. I have some PTSD.
You're a little still a little fresh.
I'm still a little fresh. Yeah. But then I have to tell these 30 teenagers that I pooped myself as a 26-year-old dude. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was.
Oh my gosh.
It was awesome.
That's like one of the better stories I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I actually cried. It was really funny.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
That's-
I'm sorry that happened to you.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's okay.
So are you afraid to have popcorn now? Is there like a bit of a
No, I actually had some last night.
Did you have anything else?
Really like
Here's the
these
thing.
now.
Here's the thing. I did have to fart on the way here, and I didn't trust it. So I've learned my lesson.
Wow.
So if you take anything away from this episode, learn not to trust certain farts. And you can trust other ones, but not certain ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good youth ministry suggestion.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Well, Johnny,
Thanks for coming on.
maybe quickly before we wrap this up, what's your goal for Medicine Hat? You know, any kids listening that might want to get involved with Young Life? Do you want to share a little bit of your vision?
Yeah.
For at least the next, 6 months or year here.
Sure. Yeah, I think my goal for the next 6 months to year would be to meet some Christian teens who are passionate about evangelism.
Yeah.
Or at least passionate about learning more about evangelism and what that can look like.
Yeah.
And a huge part of my role is mentoring Christian teens and doing life alongside them as well. It's not just about the non-Christian kids. It's especially about the Christian kids because we recognize that the Christian teens are the leaders of their generation, you know. While we still think we're young and hip, we're really not. And if we try to use the brain rot or the slang that teens nowadays use, they'd be like, dude, that's so embarrassing. Like, stop.
Yeah.
It feels bad coming out of my mouth.
It totally does. And sometimes I do it just for fun, just to like make
it brings them pain.
Oh, and it's so cringy and it's awesome.
We kind of have power. Do you ever find like if you say something like even like I feel like we have a way of saying it
We
that
can make
hurts them.
we can make cool things uncool immediately.
So rapidly.
100%. And I love it.
Yeah.
But that's a huge part of what my hope and my vision is meeting a core group of Christian teens that I can start pouring into and mentoring them and helping them be evangels and be apostles in their in their context at school or on their sports team or like whatever that may look like.
You actually mentioned you're on your way to meet a teacher right after this. So,
I am. Yeah, I'm actually going to Hat High right after this to meet with Mr. Ricky.
Yeah, shout out to Ricky
Mr.
Hildebrand.
Hildebrand.
Mr. Hildebrand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I forgot that teachers go by their last names.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, if you guys see Jonny around, make sure you say hi to him. If you want to get involved with Young Life,
That would be awesome.
reach out. Well, is there like a place people should go to contact you?
How do they-
email? or-
I mean, email's kind of lame, and I don't have any work-life balance, so you can just text me.
All right.
So if you
I can put it in the description. Yeah.
right there on the
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Risky.
That's brave.
Don't put mine.
I actually had
I was
a
going to
couple,
list all the numbers right here. Yeah.
please no prank calls.
Yeah.
Now you're
you might-
inviting
I mean,
them.
I probably am.
I got
You know
a
what, I
prank
wasn't
call from
going
our
to,
youth leaders
but-
last.
Oh man, I
weekend,
had a
so.
serious prank happen to me one time when I had a teen have his friend text me with this number and was like, "I know what you did," and I'm like, oh, man, my heart dropped. Where I'm like,
You're like, what thing?
"What thing?"
Yeah. What did I do?
And I'm like, "Who is this?" And they're like, "You know who this is." I'm like, "No, I don't." And they just kept playing along. And then eventually I got a photo of the two boys together. I'm like, like I was freaking out. Even though I was like, I don't know what I did.
Getting framed for something.
I'm innocent, I swear. But
I always laugh about, you ever get those emails where it like threatens that if you don't give them money, they're going to like email your boss.
those like CRA phishing scams.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
No, it's more like, hey, we have been watching your like what you do on the internet, and we're going to email it to your boss.
Oh yeah, I'm like, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I get kind of excited. I'm like, good, he'll know how hard I work. Anyway,
You'll also see how many hours I watch of Friends a week. But other than that, it's just memes and random Canva templates. So
Jonny, thanks so much for joining us today.
yeah, thanks.
Thank you so
appreciate
much for having me.
Yeah,
Thanks
yeah.
for the laugh,
Absolutely.
too. Goodness.
yeah, well, if there's any teens that are interested,
Yeah.
oh, I got to sneeze.
Oh no.
That's such a terrible time for me to do this.
right into the microphone.
If you are interested in learning more about Young Life, shoot me a text and I'd love to take you out for a coffee or Five Guys or Taco Bell. Yo, Taco Bell's in Medicine Hat now.
Yeah.
I'm so
Yes.
stoked. So if
Yeah.
you like Taco Bell, let me know.
Get some Baja Blast.
Bond over the diarrhea.
Did you see the Super Bowl ad for Baja Blast?
I did.
Did you see it? No. Do you know the singer Seal?
Yes.
They made him a seal.
It was awesome. They CGI'd him
He's like,
onto a seal.
Oh, funny.
It was awesome. But yeah, thank you so much
yeah.
for having me.
Thanks,
Awesome.
Jonny.
Thanks, Jonny. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
And now we all wave.
Bye, guys.